Welcome to Talk with Saniyyah. This is our second episode. We're going to start with Mr. Bridges, and we're going to talk about how I brought him on the show to talk about how being a father and being active in a child's life, how important it is versus not being in their life. So, welcome, Dewan, to the show. Thank you.
Hello, how you doing today?
I'm great.
Amen.
Thanks for coming. So, I want to ask you a little bit about your childhood. Growing up, was your father actively in your life and in the home?
No, he wasn't. He was in incarceration.
Okay, so he was incarcerated while you were growing up.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So you're growing up with the father that was incarcerated. Did it make you want to be more active and involved with your kids as a father?
Yeah, it made me want to be there and to show them something I didn't have.
Okay.
As a male figure in the house who really care and want to show them how to be a better person.
I like that, because we have so many men out here where, they have kids and they're not really active, involved in their kids' lives. And, I believe the only person that really suffers in the long run is the kid. Did you feel like that you suffered with not having that male role model or that figure around while you were growing up?
Not really. I didn't feel like I suffered because I know I could have been better off with him around, but since he wasn't there, I don't feel like I suffered because I had another male figure as my granddaddy.
Okay.
And he showed me what a man's supposed to do in the house and how a man's supposed to carry himself inside the house, what a man's supposed to do to keep the home together. So, not really that much suffering.
But you feel like because your grandfather played that role male figure in your life, it actually helped you. Now, let me ask you a question, because you had another male, and a lot of guys, or not a lot of guys, but a lot of kids don't have that alternative male to, go back, fall back on. So do you feel like it would have been the same if your grandfather wasn't actively involved and, speaking into your life and helping you with different things that you needed to be helped with?
No, it wouldn't have been the same.
How different do you think it would have been?
A whole lot different. Because my granddaddy, he wasn't the one with the punishing and all that stuff, but his words and his presence mean a lot. Just him sitting there telling me what to do, what not to do. It meant a whole lot.
So it made a big difference.
Yeah.
So how active are you with your own kids now?
Hands on everything. Try to be there. No matter where they're at. If they down the hill, I try to be there for them. If they up the hill, I try to be there. No matter where I'm at, I just try to be there for my kids and let them know I'm there.
Can I ask you a question? Because I see a lot of times when young men or young boys grow up with not a father in the household, they tend to repeat that same cycle of not being an active father in their own kids' lives. What do you think that stems from? When they know how it feels, like, okay, for instance, your dad wasn't there, but you made the conscious decision to make sure that you were there, even though your father wasn't there. But I see so many men that they didn't have that father, and they experienced the hurt, they experienced the rejection and the abandonment feeling, but they still do the same thing now that they're father and don't really are active or is not active in their own kids' lives. So what would you say? Like, what do you think that is that,
Sometimes it's both parties, male and female.
Okay.
Sometimes it be conflict with the mother and the father, so they don't get along, and that brings problems with the kids. They throw their problems in the mix of taking care of their kids, and as we know, one parent is absent.
Okay, so what you're saying is where there's a two-parent household, where there's two separate households,
right,
and the mom's here and the dad's here, and if they don't co-parent properly,
right,
then it brings turmoil within the whole dynamic, the family system,
right,
where the father may not be able to see his kids.
Yes, they use the kids as pawns sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, and kids never know what's going on, what they're being used to do, what to say, and all this stuff. But it's a mind game, and the kids' minds get free.
No, I agree, because at the end of the day, the kids have nothing to do with what's going on,
right,
what's going on. but they're the ones that always suffer. And when I see men like you, because how many kids do you have?
I have 11, 10 biological and one.
A stepson?
Yes.
I respect
they
you.
All moms, all 11.
And see, I love that too, because I see sometimes where there's a stepmom and a stepdad, and they'll say, "Oh, I have 4, and the other 3 are his," but they don't say, "I have 8 kids," or "I have 7 kids," or total them all together and say like they're their own. They separate the two, and I feel like when you're in the child's life, it shouldn't be a step. Either you're their parent or you're not. Right. You get what I'm saying? And I respect that about you, because you have 11 kids, and I've watched you over the years step up to the plate and really be there, actively involved with your kids and in their life.
Yeah, family is a big issue for me. I know my family sometimes don't seem that tight, but we all love each other. I just want to show that my kids how much I love them, how much I love my family, right. How much we need each other.
I agree.
Without each other, we're nothing. We break one off, and there goes a strong part of your family. You know, you can look at that person, what they could, their potential, what they can become, but what they can offer you at that moment.
Right.
And it mess up your mind as well.
I agree. So
I got loved ones who I miss dearly. That's not here, but they life was taken for granted.
Right. And they were able to have those type of experiences.
Right. They wasn't able to here to see me experience the love I have for my kids, me with my kids, and all type of stuff. That our family is so precious, and what family means to the little ones, to the new generation and the old generation.
So you value your family
majorly,
and that's a good thing, because a lot of times people don't. They think people will be here tomorrow, a month from now, and a year, and the reality is we really don't know. But let me jump in another question, because I like how you said you have 11, even though one is not biologically yours. Now, from a man's perspective, because I'll hear people say, either male or female, they won't date someone that has kids, but yet they have kids. And I don't understand that statement. So do you feel like, even though he's not yours biologically, he's still your son?
Yes, I'm not trying to treat him no different. I treat the other ones. If I punish them, I'm going to punish him as well. I just try to make no difference and let him see that you the same as just as them. Ain't nothing more special. You're not special, more special than them, or you're not unequal to them. Everything's the same around the whole field.
And I like that. We need more men like you that's willing to step up to the plate, be active, be involved, and be a loving father, because we don't see it often. And you're doing the work. You're being a man and a father and a husband, and I commend you for that.
Yeah, thank you. It's just most men ain't mentally strong. That's what it is. It's a mental battle. They fall short to themselves. They let themselves down before they can even praise themselves or even help somebody else. They let themselves down.
Do you think it's a lack of confidence?
Yeah, and a lack of understanding.
I think a lot of people, the knowledge is there, but they lack understanding, and yeah. I wholeheartedly believe that. But thanks for coming on and joining my show, Talk with Saniyyah. Could you give any advice to any fathers out there that they have kids but they are not active in their kids' life? Like, what would you tell them?
Number one advice I give to every man on this earth is love your kids, love your family, pressure. Make sure that you give them a hug and let them know that you love them with all your heart every moment, because you never know. Kids dying every day, and it could be yours, it could be mine. So just love them all the same. Even if they're not yours, take care of them, because life is precious. We got to make sure we protect our lives, our young ones, our generations to come. And it's up to us as men to make sure that the women is straight for life can continue. So do your part.
I love it. Do your part. Nice having you on the show.
Thank you.
Have you anytime. You have a great day, Mr. Bridges. Our next guest we have here is Mrs. Bridges, wife of Mr. Bridges, and we're going to talk today about, being the stepmom, because you guys have 11 kids all together.
Yes.
you have one kid that's not biologically his, and then he has three children that are not biologically yours.
Right.
How does bringing a blended family together work in the benefit of the kids?
Um, it's actually hard for me because we deal with someone, we deal with the other parent that doesn't really care for neither one of us, but doesn't really care for me at all. So she turns the kids against me, like tells the kids to disrespect me, and I still try to love them in spite of, but it's hard. It's real hard.
So you think it's definitely hard blending the family?
Yes, when you have somebody that's not really rooting for you or trying to help you raise it like together, like
So when there's no
both sides
co-parenting.
are, yeah.
So I see a lot of that going on, and it's unfortunate that people can't come together and co-parent and think about the kids and put the kids before themselves,
Right.
wanting to have a productive and a successful life for their children. So you said the kids are turned against you, but as an adult and as a mother, do you still recognize that it's not their fault and they are kids?
Being honest, sometimes, but sometimes no.
Sometimes no.
Sometimes no. Sometimes I'll be like,
You said sometimes you're being honest that you feel a certain type of way about
yes,
the kids. And see, my perspective is it's not the kid's fault. Me being a step parent, or not a step parent, I'm not a step parent. Me being raised as a stepchild, you know, in this separate home, my mom over here and my stepmom and my dad over here, you do feel conflicted as a kid where you want to be loyal to your mom, but at the same time, you want to get along with your stepmom. And so I can
right,
see easily how a kid can be, you know, conflicted on, do I be loyal to my mom? Do I be nice to my stepmom? And ultimately, even though we say, they're a kid and they know what they're doing because they make their decisions, but in reality, it's not their fault. I don't think that sometimes people understand until they're really in that situation to understand it from the kid's perspective that they don't want to hurt anyone. And in reality, they're trying to please everybody and it just makes a bigger mess.
people are, you look at it from the kid's perspective, but you also have to look at it from the stepmom's perspective too. Like it hurts. It hurts feelings when like we just recently had a situation where we seen the kids and they didn't speak at all. Like matter of fact, they actually told it was some kids that was asking them how did they know us, and he was like, I don't know them. And I was like, oh, don't even expect me to be nice when he comes back. Don't even expect me to want to be bothered with him because I'm not. I'm gonna stay in my room, like, and me and my husband have to talk about that. Where he'd be like, oh, we gonna talk about it when he get there. We gonna when he come, and it's like, and I really don't want to talk to him, like, because he knows better, but I know he doesn't. No, I think he does. I know he knows better, but I know it's because of his mom. But in that moment, it's like, no.
And I get it because in that moment it's hurtful because one thing that people don't acknowledge is, we're supposed to when it's a kid, we're supposed to excuse the behavior because it's a kid. But what we don't talk about enough is as adults we have feelings too. And even though
Right.
we're an adult, does not mean that when a kid does something that our feelings does not get hurt. And I get it because my kids hurt my feelings often, but I tell them they do so they can
Right.
correct it. So I understand what you're saying, but I also see it from a different perspective, coming from a different vantage point in terms of I understand that they didn't speak, and they are kids, but at what point do the adults step up and they become an example for the kids? Because if you just say, I don't want to talk to those kids at all because my feelings are pretty much hurt, because that's what it boils down to. Because I could tell you were kind of tearing up when you were saying it, that your feelings were hurt, but wouldn't that just be playing into the game and just being or doing exactly what they're doing?
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying in that moment. Like now I'm over it and I'm like, we gonna talk about it when he comes. But I know I can talk to him. It's we have some that we can't talk to. And it's gonna be like if you try to talk to them and tell them, like, you didn't speak, that was rude, you still have to be respectful, they'll be like, I don't care. I don't like you.
And I get it, and that could definitely hurt, especially when you have the best interest for the child.
Right.
But then we also have to, foul it back in our mind, like, okay, this is not the kid. They're trying to still be loyal to their mom, and if the mom is not on board and everybody's not on the same page, then it creates a mess. And so
Right.
these kids are doing this and being told this here, and then in this house they're being told something else.
We actually, like, sometimes I think it's the kids, because we were at a point, me and the other mother, where we could actually talk on the phone or be in the same room with each other, and it was no problem. And then the kids go back and they'll lie to her, and like they like her to react. They like her to call our house and go off on me, or will try to go off on me or go off on him. They like that, and they'll tell you they like that.
But even if a kid saying they like that, I feel like in every household, behavior is learned. And
Right.
so it's taught. So a kid doesn't just get accustomed to that behavior or normalize that behavior
Right.
without that being a normal behavior that they are used to. So not just excusing the kid's behavior and just saying give them a pass on everything, but then as an adult, we have to understand this is what they're accustomed to.
Right.
So it's almost like a kid that their parent takes them in the store and steals all the time. And so when the parents are not around, they keep stealing, and we get mad at that kid. But why are we getting mad at the kid when this is the behavior that's being taught in the home?
Right.
So we're making them accountable for something they have no control over. Kids don't parent themselves. They don't raise themselves. That's our job to do.
Okay, I agree with that. But at what point do you hold them accountable?
At what point do you hold them accountable? I say a kid, when they become maybe a teenager, middle school, where it's like, okay, you're kind of differentiating yourself and you kind of know, but so young because they're still in elementary. You have to understand, well, I'm not going to even say middle school, it just depends on that child, because I've seen or observed kids that are in high school and still crave for their parents. I've seen adults still crave for their parents' love and will do any and everything if that's lie, steal, do whatever the mom wants them to do, the dad wants them to do, whether it's vindictive, whatever, to be in good graces with that parent. So, it's kind of a lose-lose situation. They're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. If they like the new stepmom or the new stepdad and mom or dad is mad, then, I take a risk of, my mom or my dad being mad at me.
Right.
But I also take the risk of hurting my stepmom or my stepdad's feelings. And so that's why as adults, when you blend a family, it has to be done right, and all the parents have to be on the same page.
Right. But not if you're dealing with an ignorant person.
I mean, definitely you can't control other people's how they respond, because we can only control us ultimately. So it's not what he or she does, it's more what do I do.
Right.
Because regardless of what she does, that does not mean you have to respond in the same way that you don't have to react the same way whatever she's doing or responding.
But if the person keeps on disrespecting you, it's not realistic to say you're not gonna respond, period, because eventually you will. Like I took the disrespect for a while, and I'm at the point now where no, I'm about to react. Next time I'm going to say something.
So this is my thing, and this is my philosophy in life. You can say whatever you want about me, as long as you're not in my personal space disrespecting me. I don't care what you do, because I ultimately feel like
that's what I'm talking about, being in the same place and you're disrespecting.
Well, so you saying someone is in your space, like in your face, or someone is more of just indirectly throwing subliminals, speaking, but not directly speaking to you?
Both. Should do both.
Okay. So in that situation, you would have to address the situation, but then I'm conflicted with that too, because if I know a person is ignorant, and I know I don't carry myself that way, why would I even scoop to that person's level? And I'm not going to lie, sometimes people do make you want to go to that level with them. But if I already know this is what you do, Why am I going to allow you to get a reaction out of
But
it?
after a while, you'll get that reaction.
But as an adult too, you know, it comes to a point, I don't have to be in the same setting as you. I don't have to be in the same space as you.
We try that, but then there's people that without our knowledge which will try to put us in the same environment because they know what's going to happen.
But you know what? Those type of people, and I'm assuming you're talking about maybe family members.
Yes.
But those, when you are in situations like that, when you see this is a continuous pattern of this person doing these types of things, then I would just completely eliminate that person out of my life. Because if you keep trying to put me in a situation where it's going to be toxic, where it's going to be a problem, where something's going to happen, where it's not going to be a great outcome, that's not a person that I want around me or want in my life, period. And that's where me and my husband would have to sit down, and you guys have to have that conversation and discuss that. Because if someone is not rooting for you, then they're rooting against you, and ultimately they don't need to be a part of your family system.
Right. We've had that discussion.
And how did that go? Because you just keep saying right.
We've had that discussion.
So did it go well, or did he agree, or?
It's kind of hard for him because of the person that it is. So, but like everybody else, besides this one specific person, he's like, cut him off. Like, okay, we don't have to deal with him. Even that specific person, like, we don't have to deal with him. But I'm like, but I think you should say something, because until you say something, they'll continue to do it.
Let me tell you something in marriage. I've been married 17 years. And if you have a problem with my husband, you ultimately have a problem with me.
And
period.
that's how I feel.
There's no way around that. You're not going to disrespect my husband, period. Because for you to disrespect my husband, that is my husband, I take it as you're disrespecting me.
Right.
And if you're in a relationship and it's not a team, then that's a conversation you need to have, because a mate should never feel comfortable with allowing someone else to disrespect you and be okay with that, ever.
Right.
Mother, brother, sister, friend, cousin, whoever.
And that's the conversation we just had.
Sometimes it could be a sticky conversation, and sometimes it could be a hurtful conversation, because when we love people, we don't want to let them go. But like I said, if they're not rooting for you, then they're rooting against you, and that's somebody you don't need to have around you. Because at the end of the day, we grow up in a family.
Right.
I have my mom, I have my dad, I have my sisters, I have my brothers, but ultimately, my household consists of my husband, myself, and our kids.
Right.
Outside of that is my extended family. My immediate family is the people in my four walls in my household, in the Mayo residence. So to disrespect any of them, and not to say if you disrespect one of my other family members, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But to allow someone to disrespect my husband or kids and still have them in my space, have them in their space, is pretty much equivalent to me to allowing someone to molest your child and still bring them around them. Why would I take my husband through that humiliation, that anger, that resentment, that hurt, and have this person continuously disrespect them and let them around my space, in my house, my gatherings, and think that's okay? That's unacceptable. Okay, so, I understand your frustration. I understand, your hurt behind different things with your stepchildren and, their mother possibly, or different family members. What do you think you could do different to have a more successful or effective relationship with the kids, where there's no conflict between you and that mother?
I think it'll always be conflict. I married the man she wanted a life with. She can't handle it. So it'll always be conflict.
You don't think over time that she will eventually get past that?
It's been 5 going on 6 years, and she still hasn't.
Okay. So, but whatever she chooses or chooses not to do, what I'm saying for you, how do you have a more effective relationship with your stepkids?
Actually, when they do come around, I play with them and everything. I love them. I can't deny that. I do love them. I do love them.
It's just a sticky situation.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like, okay, and then sometimes we have those moments when They just want to be bad. And they want to drive me crazy. They want to call me out of my name. They want to be disrespectful.
Isn't that a part that goes in love with like blending a family sometimes, that you're gonna have those challenges? Even with, to be honest, with having your own kids, there's times where your kids are gonna get on your last nerves, your biological kids,
Oh, they do.
and say things that you don't necessarily like. So isn't that just comes with the territory of being a parent, period?
No, not the extent that they'll go. No, because I couldn't fathom my kids calling me bees or not telling me they want somebody to beat my ace. None of that.
Well, ultimately, if the kid is saying that, that's something that they're hearing.
right.
So I go back to, it's really not their fault. You know, we can't teach kids behaviors and then expect them to act a different way when in reality that's all they know.
With this certain kid, I can agree with that. But with the two older ones, I've been in their life since they were babies. Like, I've been there. Like, the oldest one, he won't disrespect me at all. When they disrespect me, he has a problem with it and he's gonna voice it. The middle child, he hasn't disrespected me in years, since he was like 3, and now it's just starting to come back. And the youngest one, well, she's always been disrespectful.
Okay. So what solutions do you think you would give someone? I want you to turn to the camera. And what solution would you give someone in your situation that is struggling with trying to blend a family successfully?
Pray. And that's what I tell her to do. Every time they start being disrespectful, I tell them to go pray. When they come back, whole different kid. I tell them to pray.
Okay, nice solution. I like it. Thanks for allowing me to have you on this show. You were a pleasure. You gave an outlook to things that happen every day in our society with people trying to blend families and the frustration of the mom or the dad and not being able to blend it successfully. So like I said again, thank you for coming on the show. Hopefully you'll come back later on in life, and you're trying to write a book about blended families.
I'm writing a book on it. Yes.
And
Stay tuned for that.
I'm looking forward to reading it. So we're back with Talks with Saniyyah. I have Mrs. Turner, the Sales Twins. How are you guys doing today? Good. You guys are a trio. Are you a singing group? You said good in unison. No, you're not a singing group?
No.
So I want to just jump in, and talk about some different things about life. I want to go down the line and, say your name and how old you are.
Well, I'm Lashanae, I'm 19 years old. I'm Lachey, I'm 19. I'm Marisha, I'm 19.
Okay. So we have someone that is pregnant, someone that just had a baby. How old is your baby?
2 months going on 3.
And then someone that is not pregnant or not at all and is not looking forward to having kids. So you guys are all different in 3 different transitions of life. So how is it being a mom?
I love being a mom. I like everything. I wouldn't change nothing.
So you wouldn't go back and change anything about being a mom?
No.
Okay. What about you?
Right now, I'm going to school and I have a job. I'm learning to be.
Oh. Okay, let me jump back in because you're going to say the same line. She said that same line. Oh my God. Okay, let me jump back into that because you say your line though. So you done rehearsed your little lines. Okay.
Yeah, I don't say that.
No, I want you to say that, but I can tell you really rehearsed that one. Okay. So what about you, Shay?
For me, I'm going to school. I have a job. And I'm working on being more independent.
Okay. What about you, Miss Turner? You said what?
I said currently pregnant, but I'm working on some stuff.
Okay. So do you guys want to tell me about your goals?
For me, I want to be a cosmetologist and I want to own my own hair salon. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
Me, I'm majoring in childcare right now, so I want to open up my own childcare and childcare business.
Okay. Is that what twins do? You guys correct each other?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys look out for each other?
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you the same, and how would you describe you as being different as twins?
For me, I like the difference between me and her is like I think I'm more like I think a lot, like, and she's like she's the type that lives in the moment. Like she doesn't, I don't think she doesn't like think about what's gonna happen if I do this or yeah.
So you're very analytical when you think about the long-term effect
Yeah,
that
the
things has, and she's
consequences.
very impulsive and just do it just because it's the spirit of the moment.
Yeah,
Are you like the big sister that gives the little sister advice?
yeah.
Does the little sister listen?
Sometimes
Sometimes.
I take her advice. It's stuff I already know.
Oh, so you
Like stuff I already know.
okay? Do you give her advice?
No, she's the one who gives me advice.
You like no? You wouldn't take it if she gave it.
No, because I know, I think I know more.
Oh, so you know more than her?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, because I think I know more because I listen to you and yeah.
Yeah. What?
I listen to you more like the stuff that you talk to us about. Like that sinks in, and I don't think she really gets it. So I feel like
You think she
remind her.
just is it that she doesn't get it, or she just doesn't care?
She don't care at the moment, like so I have to remind her like yeah.
So you just don't care, Shay?
I care.
You just don't want to do it.
No, it's not that. It's like what you said. It's just I do live in the moment.
Is that something you're working on?
Yeah, I think I'm working on that.
Okay, so let me jump to you, Narisha. What is it that you want to do? What are your goals?
I want to be a social worker because I really love kids. So I love working with kids and being around kids.
You're a great dancer. Do you ever see yourself like having a studio or like teaching dance classes or anything like that? Because I've envisioned you. This is my wishful thinking of seeing you in somebody's movie choreographing some type of dance step or something. Because you're really sleeping on your talent. Like you're really great at dancing.
Thank you. I don't see myself doing that. I don't know. I mean, being maybe like doing something with dance, but I don't know. I never really thought I was going to do something like that.
Oh, you never wanted to go into dancing.
No, it was more basketball than dance, but dance was always like, oh yeah.
I can just do it, just another
Yeah.
talent, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can dance your butt off. A great dancer. Okay, so how do you guys feel about being 19 and dating? Narisha, I know you're in a relationship. Nay, I really don't know your status. Are you in a relationship, out of a relationship?
I'm not in a relationship.
Shay?
I just got out of a relationship.
Okay, so when you're looking for guys to date, what are the different things that you look for being 19?
Well, I want someone who has goals in life and who accept. Well, now since I have a child, like I want someone who's gonna accept my child as well as me, and who's loyal and respectful to me, because that's everything to me. Loyalty and respect. That's what that's what makes it for me.
Different people define loyalty different. How would you define loyalty?
Don't do nothing shady to me, and like just have my back and like yeah, I can't think of some like
So
more
just
than
being honest
yeah,
and having you no matter what?
yeah.
Okay. What do you look for when you're dating?
I want somebody who's on the same level, it's the same exact level as me. And if they're not, at least like have goals in their life. Like I want somebody who has a job and who's going to school, who has their head on their shoulders. Because in my last relationship, it wasn't like that. So now, more mature. I want somebody mature too.
So you want to date someone that has the same mindset.
Yeah.
What about you, Miss Turner?
Yeah, it's like the same. Just like someone. Well, I'm in a relationship now, but it's like I want both of us to be, better at what we're doing now. Like, to have a job and be able to do what we need to do and get what we need to get without like needing help outside of just me and him.
So you both want to be you want to be independent. Okay. So you guys seem a little nervous. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you nervous?
No.
Not really. Okay. So you guys are all in 3 different stages. Now let me ask you this: Do you guys have other friends that are having kids?
Yes, a lot of, I have a,
So you guys have a lot of friends that are having kids? Okay. You have a lot of friends that are not having kids?
yeah,
So it's like equal amount?
yeah, 50-50.
So how does that happen? You guys still hang out with your friends that has kids or don't have kids?
Well, I don't hang out with no one. I don't do that friend stuff anymore.
What is the friend stuff?
Like I don't go out no more. I don't hang out with people like that because I'd rather be with my son.
Okay. So do you feel like having a baby means you need to put your life on hold?
No, it's just I just rather be with my son right now because he's 2 months and I just want to spend all my time with him. And I don't want to like no, the friends that I did hang out with, they were like to me they were negative like yeah they're down here so I don't really want to hang out with them like that.
So you need to find new people?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. The biggest mistake that women always do when they have kids or when they get in a relationship, they make their whole life about that man or that kid. So it's cool that you want to spend time with your baby, and I commend you for that, but you still need a life outside of your baby, and I'm going to tell you why. One day, your baby's going to grow up and have their own life. He's going to have his own life and family. So you need to be 100% active in your kid's life, but you also need to still be Nate and have fun and enjoy life. Because a lot of times when women have kids and they don't do that, they lose their identity. I did that for many years, and at 27, I woke up one day and was like, who is Saniyyah besides a wife and a mother? I had to rediscover myself all over again. So, seriously, that's good that you want to spend time with your son, but always set time for you. Okay? You smiling, Irisha. What do you think? Were you thinking something? Because you were just like, oh, okay. Okay, yeah, because a lot of times women do that. They do it quite often, and I think when they get so into it, they don't, realize it until it's a little too late. So, what do you guys think about, loving yourself? I see a lot of different things with, social media and stuff being on TV, and a lot of girls wanting to be, people on TV, reality stars, celebrities. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, I think you should like self love. Like if you don't love yourself, you're gonna let someone walk all over you, and that's not good. Like well to me, yeah.
No, I agree with you. But do you see like a lot of your friends and a lot of your peers, they strive to be like people that they see on TV or on social media?
Yeah,
A lot of people do that.
Is
I
that
just feel like you should be yourself. You shouldn't like try to follow everyone else because a lot of people these nowadays want to follow everyone else and be like someone else, but it should be different. I think, but be yourself. Like, stop trying to be like everyone else.
you guys were just in high school, you a year ago, you 2 years ago. How was that being in high school? Did people have their own individuality? Were they themselves, or were people mostly always trying to fit in and be someone else when you were in high school?
in my high school, it was like we always follow the leader.
Well, who was the leader?
Like I don't know, like the rappers at our school, like because we live in San Bernardino, like the San Bernardino rappers go to our school, so everybody wanted to be like the rappers that went to our school and follow them and be like them and stuff.
What about you, Miss Turner?
Yeah, there was always like cliques and groups. That's what mainly it was. Like there's a lot of people that I hung out with. Yeah, we were a group, but we were ourselves. We're not trying to be like everybody else. But you did see people like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be like her, do this and that. See somebody doing something and somebody else going back and doing just trying to be like them.
Okay. Let me ask you this because you said you live in San Bernardino, right? So San Bernardino is plagued as the most dangerous place to live right now. Do you feel unsafe in that city?
Yeah, I feel like I have to be more cautious and observant of things now because like even if you're not like gang affiliated or anything, like an innocent regular person, you can still like get shot and stuff.
So just walking down the street,
Yeah,
going to the
literally
store,
walking
doing
down
your
the
daily
street.
routine, you might not be here tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do like so, especially like in our neighborhood, like you have to be more cautious and stuff.
Is
Yeah,
it
especially like we have friends that died and they They just died. People just shot him. And I don't want to raise my son in San Bernardino at all.
So are you trying to make sure that you get out?
Yeah, because I don't want to raise him. It's bad.
It's a bad environment.
Yeah.
How was it at school?
At school, like she said, it's like cliques and stuff. Like everybody think like cliques like want to be out and about and fighting and like that's
So
what
fighting is the
like,
end thing?
trigger happy and yeah.
So you live in Rancho. So same thing as school. Fighting is like the end thing.
Yeah, like games and stuff like that. And just.
So hold on, let me stop because this is Rancho.
Yeah, exactly.
And most people say, well, they don't have gangs in Rancho. So is that not true?
I really wouldn't know nothing about it, but I'm saying like games is like people saying they're in games and stuff.
And they're really not.
At school.
So just
But,
trying to do it to
I
fit in.
really don't care, but it's a lot of like to do with that. So trying to fit in and be like somebody else.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this question. Do you all three feel like you love yourselves?
I'm working on loving myself more. Like, yeah, I'm working on that because, like how you tell us, like the things that you tell us about like self love and stuff like this. Like I was like, I think back like, oh, that's not what I do. Like I don't do that. I need to start thinking like, yeah, like I'm working on loving myself more. Yeah, that's it.
So the fact that you know that it's something you need to work on, I commend you for that because a lot of people don't really admit that it's something that they need to do. What about you? Do you feel like you love yourself?
Yeah, but I feel like I do need to work on it more.
You feel like you need to work on it more? That was my first time ever hearing you say that. I'm kind of proud. What about you?
I love myself.
You love, okay. But tell me what loving yourself is, because you're just confident.
Like I said earlier, like I love myself. Like I'm not gonna let no one. I just started like loving myself and knowing my worth and not letting no one like stumble all over me and do me wrong or something like that.
Okay. So now you just discovered that recently. So now you're taking a different route and a different perspective in life.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could tell the young girls out there watching, what would be your message to any young girl your age?
Love yourself and don't let no one walk all over you and just be someone you like.
Okay. Do you guys have anything for the young girls out there?
It's the same like love yourself and just love yourself.
Be you, not try to be somebody else. Just be yourself.
And know your worth.
And know your worth.
Yeah. Oh, you said that.
Thank you all for joining in with Talk with Saniyyah. This is the second episode. And if you like what you're seeing, stay joining in and also share it. Until next time, as I always say, continue to break cycles.
GrindFace.